the big problem now of coronavirus make other problems less important and out of the way. When this subsides, I don't want you to bring all the old problems back and be more overwhelmed. One step at a time, create a plan, see what kind of atmosphere you need to build to achieve that plan with your family, with your workers, with your associates, with your clients, and then start executing with ethics. Because if you behave ethically in the short term, you will continue in the long term and nothing bad will happen. That will give you peace of mind.
You often mention timing, right? So with the travel restrictions and the advice to practice social distancing for the time being or for the near future, and that could be weeks if not months, are you making any additional adjustments? I know you kind of just mentioned it, but are you changing how you train new investors to become partners with you through the
Yeah.
joint venture partner program? Or even people looking to become co-sponsors with you in the fund? Do people have to wait until all of this settles before starting with you commercial real estate, or they can get started now, just maybe digitally?
Thank you. They can start right away. We actually, anybody who's been to my events or watched me doing the trainings, I'm always filming all my trainings. We have them on videos. We often don't even edit. We leave it as is. We just so people can see exactly the flow of the trainings and the reactions of the students and the responses and the questions, etc. So any student who want to join us right now, any investor who wants to get into the game and want to see how we teach and what we're doing, they can go into on any of the website, the JV partnership website, the fund website, the training website for the CMREI.com, and the trainings are there and they're cut into segments. For instance, for the JV partnerships, you could be sitting at home anywhere around the world and you can see exactly how I start with the 10 things we're going to cover. Then the 15 criteria we need for a specific property, what property we're looking for, and then how to identify that property and how to actually contact and communicate with the broker or the seller directly. Then what you need to see on the contract, like section by section by section. It's a full day training. It's very intense because I don't spend any time with the extra stories that are not relevant to the subject matter. It's like the 20% of the 20%, and they can do it all online, communicate with me by email and phone call, and can get up and running. And so that's one way to really join us right away. Now, there is another thing which I always invite students to fly in and meet me wherever I am. And we spend the whole day for the JV, the co-sponsors who came in and gonna be co-syndicators into my funds and grow with me. We're doing an event in June. It's, I believe, June 23rd, 24th, 25th. It is expected that by that time there'll be the cruises back in Puerto Rico, businesses back. We can see the hotels already occupancy picking up early June. So we have them coming in, and that's a 4.5 days intensive. We're talking 12 hours a day. People love it. And when we finish, they can't even believe it's finished. So everything is available online, and I'm still available to do these special trainings. We've been very flexible with students based on their schedules. And
Speaking to that, what we talked about before also was now, with the fund and especially with this influx of new capital or resources that people are bringing over because of the instability of the stock market, maybe their faith in long-term play with cryptocurrency, you have more and more basically capital that you have to deploy, right? We talked about how you wanted to target specific cities for the joint venture partner program and how you're basically looking to now kind of aggressively find additional joint venture partners, especially in those emerging markets where we don't necessarily have joint venture partners, right? Are those plans changing, or are you still looking for joint venture partners in certain cities?
oh, absolutely, we're looking for joint venture partners, and we're actually wide open. We've even sometimes discounted some cities, thinking, "Oh, this is too small, nothing's going to happen there." And next thing we know, we have a student who found a great property at a great price. Right now, you can negotiate some unbelievable prices because the market was going so high, we couldn't get the deals the way we wanted them sometimes in these select markets. Now we're able to do that. And we're able to also get, in the last 2 weeks, even smaller markets, because what's happening is, if you look at the history, when it dipped in 2008 and 9, etc., who was growing? The QSRs. QSR is quick service restaurants, because people don't want to go to a full service restaurant. They just want to grab the fast food. They want to go to a Subway. They want to go to a Ben and Jerry's. Just quick in out. They get their stuff. We have two Starbucks deals that are pending right now for JV opportunities. I think I mentioned Foot Locker expanding into an old Walgreens that was shut down. Foot Locker is coming in. We're actually negotiating now the tenant improvement. They asked for so much in tenant improvement. We want to negotiate that down a little bit. And they said, well, nobody's going to be able to talk to you for a week. Okay, give them a week. The more time they have to figure out what's going on, the more time we have to figure out also what's going on. But what's going to happen? It's going to rebound. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, we rebounded from the Spanish flu in 1918 or 1920. I mean, it seems like every 100 years there is something, right? And it always comes back, and it always comes back better with wiser investors, people more cautious. And so yeah, we want joint venture partners. We want to continue that momentum. This is one of the safest strategies to start in commercial real estate and grow with commercial real estate.
So they get a pretty hefty percentage for finding the deal that the fund then acquires. So they don't have to worry about bringing their own cash or capital. They're not, again, correct me if I'm wrong, nobody is risking any of their capital because the earnest money deposit is fully refundable for the due diligence period, right? And they get a pretty generous percentage of the deal once it's transferred over or signed to the fund.
Exactly. The student looks in his own or her own backyard of 5-mile radius for single tenant buildings based on the criteria we share with them. They put it under contract by showing the proof of fund we give them and telling them exactly the script they need to talk to and talk to the broker. And when they put it under contract, they put small amount of money, like maybe 5,000, that is not even at risk, to lock in the deal for 45 days. Why would the seller accept 5,000 when they want maybe 15? Because we have proof of funds showing millions of dollars. We're going to buy that building cash. And they have access to me. The broker can verify with me. They can verify directly with my banks. And then they start calling on the list of tenants. We give them 4,500 tenants with who to contact, what to say, how to do it, what size they want, who are the neighboring tenants they like. They just follow step by step what we tell them. And when the tenant is ready to talk and converse on actual the details of the LOI, I get in on the phone. We actually do the conference call set up from my office. I negotiate the details, and then we close all cash. The student gets paid. The average commission is over $45,000. Lowest commission paid was $30,000. I was one. I'll tell you, if a student can get an assignment fee of $40,000, working less than 40 hours, doing exactly what I tell them, something is wrong with their system. They're not implementing what I told them. They're not following the system. They're not actually doing what we're doing. We've done this for years. We have thousands of success stories on YouTube. We'll continue to grow. It's one of the easiest and fastest ways to make money if you know what you're doing and you're working with somebody like me who's got a fund, got cash, ready to transact based on a formula.
And so yeah, this is one of the lowest, well, I don't know that it's one of, I think it really is the lowest barrier to entry ways to get into commercial real estate.
Sure, for sure.
Okay.
And second next level, since we're talking about degrees of working with me, if you will, lowest level will be coming as a joint venture student. Do a couple deals. Now you got the money, you got the experience, you're able to fly on your own. My goal is to free you up. So we train more people. They do first, second deal. They're on their own after that with a couple assignment fees. We train new people. So we've been doing that, and we've been growing and getting success stories. The second level is to come and join me as a co-sponsor. This is where we do an intensive training of 4 full days in Puerto Rico, show you how to become a fund manager, how to set up your own fund, how to park the money that you raise using my historic performance and everything, and you park it with me in my fund, then you can branch out on your own. The whole process for it approved by the SEC. We have the attorneys that qualify you. We put you right on the SEC website so you can go pitch in investment clubs and everywhere and brand yourself with me, so you can take my history of performance of doing so well for over 11 years in the market with the SEC regulators, and you're able then to branch out on your own and do your own deals. And that's when we can do different level of partnerships on bigger deals. We have actually a deal right now we're looking at in Virginia Beach, which is a whole shopping mall, and unbelievable. They wanted 10 million. Right now they told us, okay, you guys went dark on us, you're not responding. How about 8.3 million? So we're discussing it now, and right there, that deal, it's an incredible deal. When we close it, I'm positive, I didn't say if, but when we close that deal, I'm going to show the pictures, I'm going to do aerial views, I'm going to show you the type of tenants we're bringing in. Insane. That thing will have, on maybe 3 million down payment, will have a 5 million in equity, and everything will be done within 12 months. So there is some insane deals right now. Just gotta find the right sellers, get in with me, start as a JV partner, continue as a co-sponsor. Then the next level, branch out on your own, do your own stuff. We'll help you launch your own syndication and grow. And throughout the process, keep learning. If you know what you're doing now, knowledge will give you a bit of stability and peace. I am not falling apart. I'm not sitting here just to enjoy myself. My family's here in Cancun. I spend about, if you calculate how many weeks, and then I travel, and about half the year I'm here. And then the other half in Puerto Rico or somewhere in the US where I actually do some of my deals. So this is just very powerful for everybody who understands. Those students who are interested, we're going to send them, if you will, a checklist. Give me your financial status. Give me your, like you have a physical health, I want to know your financial health, if you will. Right? So the financial wealth formula is, if somebody tells me, okay, here's my income, here's what I do, here's my income, here are my sources of income, this is my tax bracket, here's what I've invested in, here's my experience and all this, I'm able to tell this person, this is what you need to do, whether with me or somewhere else, or maybe don't do anything at this time, etc. Because the reason I've succeeded, I've been in the business 21 years teaching, and the reason we have so many success stories and we had that sustainability and continuity in the market is we've always tried to give the student what's best for them. You know, integrity is telling people the truth, even if it hurts you. I mean, I've told some students, this is not for you. Don't invest with me because this is the wrong time. You need to pay off this debt. You need to do this thing and do that. And then when you're more solid, when you're able to do better, come back to me, I'll be here. And some I've never heard from them again, but some came back and they were grateful, as you would see on YouTube videos and success stories. Yeah. So to continue with what you're saying, yes, you start with no money needed with JV training because you're making money from the assignments and you're working with me. The next level is the co-syndicator, where you're making money from referrals, referring people to get tax reduction, referring people to invest in the fund, referring people into the asset protection. I mean, the amount of money you can make from referrals on residual basis. That means you refer a client that's your client and you keep getting paid every transaction we do with that client as they grow with us every year. And at any time, the third level will be branch out on your own. We'll help you draft your private placement. We'll help you branch, take the clients with $1 million, $2 million, $3 million that you lined up, and let's go partner on bigger deals or go on your own and do your own deals based on all the trainings and the experience you have.
Mm-hmm. And this all goes back to cash flow. Really, yes. All of this entire model is built on multiple streams of income and cash flow.
Yes, your work should be to create cash flow for yourself first, and then to get an asset that produces cash flow, and then get another asset that produces more cash flow, and eventually the assets are cash flowing for you. And if you're wise, you don't increase your expenses. You stay steady. You start paying off the debt. And now you're going to have, mentally, you're going to be free to be able to look at other opportunities, and you have a business model that keeps growing. Now, you can do this by saving, which will take you 100 years, or you can do it by investing, assigning to me, do like in 90 days what other people do in 2 years, because you're doing an assignment, you're getting $40,000 or $60,000 assignment fee, and then you go into co-sponsoring, you're not having to use your money. You now have all the tools because you're now totally aligned with me to be able to attract people, because you're offering them things they have never seen. Most people have no idea how to drop their taxes to 15%. Most people, to do asset protection, got to pay $15,000 or $25,000. We do it for $5,000. It's unreal the way we have things set up. It's Costco style. It's Walmart style. And you look at Walmart; they're doing well right now. They're unbelievably busy. Why? Because when people have doubt, they go to what is sustainable, what makes financial sense, and what makes economic sense. And that's where we are. That's why we've lasted.
And so building this passive income, that's a big source of, or, you know, it seems like that's one of the ways people can create a secure future, financial future. You talk about financial health, right?
Yes, totally. And not just passive income. Passive income without a lot of hassles. I mean, I get these people that want to buy land and then develop it and then fix the area in the back and do this. And I'm thinking to myself, this person doesn't have time to make himself a sandwich at night. She's going to go develop a land, deal with contractors, go look at sites, deal with the city. I said, it's impossible. So I say there are many different ways that you can get cash flow a lot simpler. Just like the joint venture, when people do a couple assignments with me and then they're on their own, guess what they do? They get the deal under contract, vacant, the single tenant building. They line up the big tenant. When the tenant comes in, there is no more work for 10 to 15 years. The tenant is a national tenant that pays you the rent, net of tax, net of insurance, net of maintenance. So that's called triple net. And it has a corporate guarantee. Market goes up, down, sideways, they get paid. And that's the way to get assets that produce, that are safe, that have cash flow, that have liquidity, and give you some cash reserves on the side. That's the way to do it. Not to go fix and flip wholesale, where now all these people wholesaling got stuck with properties. I'm not bashing the wholesaling model, but timing is so important. Not just timing of the entrance, but what you do when you're in the game. So how do you position yourself so you have more safety margins? And then the exit. When do you exit? So timing and duration, what you do during and when to exit. And that's where the game, do you know how to exit? Do you know how to exit creatively? We have 6 ways to exit any type of properties creatively. This is where I make the biggest money. You know when the interest is low and it comes up, this is huge. I show in my trainings how I bought buildings at one price, sold them at the same price, and I made money just from the financing. It's huge. It's all knowledge and taking action and networking with the right people. So don't panic. If you're a broker or a real estate agent, just keep hacking away, doing the short term what you would do to survive in the long term, and you'll prosper, not just survive.
Great. You now I know you've been in direct contact with obviously with your investors and some of the JV partners over the past few days. What has that communication been like? What is their temperature, so to speak, and how are you working or communicating with them?
In difficult times, sometimes people just need some reassurances. So not all conversations have been, what should I do with my money? A lot of them is like, hey, Cherif, what do you think? And I am almost like a philosopher when it comes to the world of investing, because I always try to balance life with business. And many people are like this. I'm not the only one like that. But if you keep your spirit strong, you won't get sick. I mean, that's just, I don't know if anybody can relate to this. If you're under a lot of pressure, you end up with the flu. It's just known fact. So if you just keep your spirit strong, you just get yourself out of the problems, make the list, write down, here are all my problems, here's the big problem now, and then understand what's the source of my fear, what can I do, what's the worst case scenario, what's the best case. So I've helped some people deal with a few things like this because the stress at home, the stress of the unknown. Other than that, we actually had more people investing in the fund, which is good and exciting because we have some deals lined up. It's good to be a buyer now, not a seller, and thank God we have no assets to sell at this point. And so those have been the conversations. Some other students, I taped a small video about the joint venture students, continue doing what you're doing, etc. Of course, March, for the rest of March, everything has stopped. April is going to pick up again. People got to continue talking. Actually, I'm talking to a big national tenant now, and to my surprise, they emailed me on Thursday, and they said, hey, can you tell me about the mezzanine level, the square footage? I'm like, wow, that announced shut down throughout the United States, but the lady's working from home, and she said, I need to know the mezzanine level, the square footage. It's not clear on the sheet. I had to call the architect, and he said, oh, I can get it to you in 5 minutes. I said, oh, usually I have to wait a couple hours. What's going on? He said, I'm sitting home. Do you need anything else? Yeah, you know what? Give me the drawings for this. Give me the CAD for that. No, I get him busy. So you just got to understand, don't panic, be positive. The students calling me, there is some of this relationship that I've built, especially with the co-sponsors. So we chat, we talk about what they should do. I discourage people from going to the stock market because that's speculation now. Just keep your money, put it aside. Understand if you have some debt right now, talk to the bank on Monday, Tuesday, next week, and start seeing if you can refinance. And the banks may not even have the answers because they're confused as heck. They're trying to assess what's going to happen.
So business is still being done. So your student investors, the people who are joint venture partner students. I mean, everybody is still active. They can still do this even with the whole social distancing thing.
Yes, but I wouldn't say everybody. Quite a few have stopped because there are no responses. I mean, we have like the deal with the Foot Locker. That stopped. I mean, we were stopping for a week. Starbucks, they said they're going to send somebody to assess something and measure whatever, and we're still waiting for that date. When is this person coming? But what we're doing is we're talking to the sellers and we say, because of what's happening, we need an extra 2 weeks. And there is zero resistance. People are like, we completely understand. We're going to give you 2 weeks.
So the sellers are still communicating, but the
Oh,
corporate tenants a little bit of a slowdown, but still in progress.
you're absolutely right. Yeah, and I think the best is yet to come, because once you place um, big tenants like this in these properties, there'll be a lot of people want that stability with the corporate guarantee and the triple net. This is what saved me in 2008, 2009, because I had these corporate tenants and I had so many buildings in Puerto Rico with that. And I had my fund up and running. That's why we created the fund, because we saw so many opportunities. People were coming with little money saying, look, this property was worth $3 million. They're selling it at $2 million. I can't get it. The bank doesn't want to give me a loan. I said, look, I'm getting them. Put your money with me. And we created the fund in 2009. This is all over again at a bigger, more dramatic, more insecure, confusing way for people. And we're plowing through, and you will see, we'll probably do a follow-up to this one in a couple months, and you will see where we are and all the great things that we have lined up.
Now, you've mentioned that you've actually seen an increase in calls from especially business owners who are seeing a boom in revenue. So for example, like the doctors, labs, manufacturers, and a lot of that is for the tax savings? Is that what?
Yeah, they are contacting me for to reduce their taxes, because all of a sudden they have an increase in business that we're not counting on, and they are saying, their CPAs is saying, you're going to pay so much in taxes if it continues like this, actually just based on what they're anticipating till June, because the problem they're anticipating, it will be till August, on and off. But by June, everything should subside, because there are some tests they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully everything goes as expected, and everything starts slowing down big time in June in terms of like the fear and all this and the market pickup. And they're expecting to make a lot of money. So they're asking about tax reduction that are legal, that are, what's the process, what can we do now? So I'm consulting for them on that. So that's a big time, yes.